Many business owners don't have a problem with creating value. They have a problem with communicating that value. And if you have a struggle with communicating that value, you're leaving clients, money, and influence on the table. So, in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to master and level up your communication skills with three moves. Three moves that will help you speak with power, conviction, and confidence. Now, the first move is this: don't just tell facts, tell stories. You see, we live in a world where you get information from anywhere. You could get information all day if you would like to. Matter of fact, you could talk to all these different AI models if you would like to all day and just gather all this information. But facts inform, stories transform. It is stories that influence certain decisions and a certain mindset and for other people. Stories have the ability to create bonds and trust between you and a potential buyer. That's why it's so important for you to tell more stories and not just facts. People can get facts anytime they want to. They can get all the facts that they want to, but that's not going to influence a certain decision. Also with facts, what you don't use, you lose. I graduated in 2019 and I ain't used the Pythagorean theory, what they call the Pythagorean theorem yet. Why? Because that fact did nothing for me. So this is what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna tell you 2 points and two stories along with it so you can see how effective stories are when you have, how stories are when you tell them alongside points. Here's the first one. If you want to lose pounds, the most important work is not what you do in the gym, but what you do at home. Now, that's a fact, but that doesn't really create a change in other people. That doesn't influence a certain decision in other people unless there's a story that's paired with it. So here's the story. A couple of years ago, I had such a high body fat percentage, and I thought that by me working out, that was going to be enough for me to reduce it. I thought that I could just eat whatever I want to, and all I had to do was just work it down. So I would play basketball. I would run at my local park. I would run on the treadmill with the treadmill incline, and I would get on the stairmasters at a really good pace. But none of that seemed to work. None of that helped create the change that I was looking for in terms of having a lower body fat percentage and being able to see more definition in my abs. But when I decided to be more intentional with how I eat, when I eat, and what I eat, and I changed all of that, that helped me greatly reduce my body fat percentage. Why? Because what you eat says a lot. And if you just eat a bunch of what you don't need to be eating, and you eat it at a time when your body isn't processing that food fast enough because you're not active, then it's going to be easy for you to increase that body fat percentage. But when you reduce it, when you reduce what you eat, and when you reduce how much you eat, and when you stop eating at a at a time that you're not as active, then that helps decrease that body fat percentage. And I was able to um, be more energetic when I worked out. I was able to see my defined abs and I got stronger because I was intentional with that. Now, think about the same point that I made and think about the story that was paired with it and how much it would increase the chances of someone making the decision to be more intentional with what they eat along with how they work out. Why? Because stories connect with people. Stories influence transformation. You can't do that with just information alone. You can't do that with just facts alone. Here's another story and another point. Oh, and I love this one. Here's the point. You don't know everything. Now, if you're not ignorant and if you're not arrogant, you know you don't know everything. But that fact alone is not what influenced the mindset that I don't know enough, that I don't know what I don't know, and so I need to continue to learn. So you need a story with that point that you don't know everything. And I got just the perfect one for you. So back in high school, I was involved in um, AP World History, and we had just taken our test. Now, majority of the class failed the AP test. I think I was like 1 point away from passing it. And so all of us was just sad and angry because we put all this time, this energy, and this effort to pass this test, and we all came up short. Now there was this one guy. He passed his test. Good for him. But he decided that was the perfect time for him to disrespect everybody and to be rude to everybody by mentioning how smart he was compared to everybody and how dumb they were compared to him, because he passed and we all failed. And I was angry at him. I was pissed off, and I could just see the annoyance of my classmates on their faces as he's just running his mouth and he has no awareness whatsoever that nobody want to hear all that. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna say something to him. I'm finna cook this joker. So I said, hey man, you smarter than everybody, right? Right. That's what he said. Right. And being smart means having knowledge, right? Right. And having knowledge means knowing something, right? Right. Okay, since you know everything, what's my grandma's middle name? Now, that's the most odd question that I could ask him. And I wasn't asking him to prove that I knew more than him. I asked him that question because he thought he knew everything and he don't. Now, think about those 2 points that I just mentioned earlier. The most important work that you're going to do in terms of losing pounds is the work that you do at home and not in the gym. And also the other point, you don't know everything. Think about those 2 points and think about how much different they impact and increase the chances of creating transformation because I added a story along with it. You have to tell more stories, not just facts. People get bored with just facts. Now, if you want to get good at telling more stories, you have to really start evaluating your own life and evaluating the situations around you and just really being aware and paying attention to all of it so that you can develop a story bank that you can use at any point to connect with others to increase the chances of creating transformations in other people. So that's the first move. You have to master telling more stories and not just facts. Here's the second point. Excuse me, not the second point. Here's the second move in order for you to level up your communication skills and speak more powerfully. You have to speak with confidence. Confidence says a lot about who you are as a person, and it says a lot about what you believe in. If you're not able to speak with confidence in what you have to offer, people are going to wonder, why should I buy what he has to offer, what he has to sell? If he don't believe in it enough to speak powerfully, why should I believe that it's going to help impact my own life? That's what they're going to be thinking. I'm reminded of a story of this show that I used to watch on YouTube. It's called The Pop of the Balloon. You'll have one contestant and you'll have a panel of either men or women. If the panel of individuals are attracted to that one contestant, they'll keep their balloon. If they like what they hear from that one contestant, they'll keep their balloon. If they don't, they'll pop their balloon, and vice versa. And they can also ask each other questions. There was this one woman contestant, and there was a panel of men. She asked these men, I forgot what the question was, and she goes down the line to hear their answers. And there was this one guy. I knew for a fact that she was gonna pop his balloon because he conveyed himself as an individual who wasn't confident. He wasn't sure of himself. Every time he would speak, he would just like twitch and move around. Like he looked so uncomfortable. And every time he spoke, he said nothing clear. First of all, every time he spoke, he didn't say a complete sentence. And every time he spoke, he kept saying the phrase type and the cussing word, the S word. And I just thought to myself, man, I know she gonna pop his balloon because why would she want him? He can't even articulate his value enough to share why he will be a positive impact in her life. And that's exactly what happened because he wasn't confident, because he didn't speak with confidence. She did exactly that. She popped his balloon. So if you're not able to speak with confidence, if you're not able to articulate the value of what you have to offer to others, people, your potential clients, they're just going to pop your balloon and move on to your competitors. So how can you begin to speak with confidence if you didn't in the past? I honestly believe that every entrepreneur should be creating content. Every entrepreneur should be creating content. Why? Because creating content has the ability of allowing you to reach more people and attracting the right people rather than you going to the marketplace and cold approaching people who don't know you, who don't want to know you, who don't like you, who don't need what you have to offer. Creating content is way more efficient as being the marketing strategy than relying on stagnant and stale referrals and slow growth. Now, many entrepreneurs like that. They would like to create content, but they find it hard to show up on camera with confidence. And that's actually why next week I'm going to host a live masterclass where I'm revealing the hidden fear that's costing you clients, confidence, and connection. That's basically keeping you away from creating content with confidence. And if you're ready for that identity shift, the greatest identity shift for you to be able to speak with confidence on camera, I suggest that you check the link in the description and join the masterclass. And if you sign up now, you'll be able to get my effortless contents with ChatGPT blueprint. I believe, like I said, I believe that every entrepreneur should be creating content. Why? Because it allows you to share those stories that transform and connects and build bond and trust. But it also allows you to get those speaking reps in that you need. In order for you to get great at anything, you have to do that thing repeatedly. So in order for you to speak with confidence, you got to speak as often. And I believe the method of you being able to speak often is to speak on camera often. I've been creating content since April of 2021. And it has truly leveled up my communication skills. It really has. I'm like, you could just look at my first video and compare to now. First of all, I wasn't even doing this back then. I wasn't doing no live videos back then. And if you look at my earliest videos, you can see how I show up, how you can see my body posture and my facial expression. You could tell that I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, I had some level of confidence, but I was still a little bit nervous. And look at me now. Look at me now doing this. This is so much fun. And when you get to a point where you can be able to speak with confidence on camera, you can be able to start doing this for yourself. What would it be like for you if you could be able to speak with confidence doing a live video, having real one on one conversations with your audience? Think about how you could be able to, in live time, impact and transform their lives. So, like I said, you have to start creating content now. And if you would like to be able to speak with confidence on camera, I suggest that you join the masterclass and show up next week. Now, here's the third move in order for you to level up your communication skills and master communicating. Think clear, speak clear. Here's what I mean by that. So many entrepreneurs have the mind of a teenager's dirty room. There's no organization, there's no structure. In the mind, you have thoughts all everywhere. They're just cluttered. They're just um, contradicting and conflicting each other. There's no clear way of thinking. And as a result in that, there's no clear way of you speaking. And as a result of that, there's no reason for people to buy in what you have to offer. When you don't speak clearly, it's because you don't think clearly. You have all these ideas just roaming around in your mind. And when you try to speak to others, you confuse people. And now they don't know if the best decision for them to move forward is to buy what you have to offer. So they decide to go to your competitors. So how can we think more clearly so that we can speak clearly? In order for you to think more clearly, in order for you to think clearly so that you can speak clearly, you have to begin to have some organization in your thoughts. It really doesn't help that we live in a world where we're trained to have short attention spans. And so we have one thought and then we get an interest in something else and we move on to another thought. And so we don't put in the time, the energy, and effort to pursue a thought and to deep dive into that thought. So in order for you to think clearly so that you can speak clearly, you have to have some organization. And in order for you to have some organization, you have to put your thoughts into physical form and really write out your thoughts. Why? Because if you just let your thoughts just live in your head, they're not going to be able to grow into what you would like them to be in order for you to speak the way that you want to speak. If you just let them be conflicting and interacting with other thoughts, they will never grow. They will never allow you to connect with the people that you're looking to connect with. See, when you write more often of what you're thinking, you're putting physical action into your thoughts and you're rereading what you wrote and you're asking yourself the question, does this make sense? Was this what I was trying to say? Does it, by me saying this in this manner, does it influence people in the way that I want to? If not, then you know that you're not thinking clearly. And by writing down what you wrote, you know that you need to rewrite it in order for you to think more clearly, in order for you to speak clearly. This is what I've been disciplining myself to do over this year. Last year I started, but I must admit, I take ownership and accountability that I wasn't writing as often as I should. I wasn't being as consistent with it as I should. But because I started writing more consistent and I disciplined myself to write every day this year, I've been able to think more clearly, and thinking more clearly has allowed me to be able to speak and articulate my ideas more clearly. Some days I'm able to write a lot, some days I'm not. But I've been able to, like I said, think clearly. And it's been able to allow me to do this, to create live content. Think about how much easier it would be for you if you could just think more clearly and you could just simplify the way that you speak because you think clearly and it's able to draw in more business. Think about how impactful not only that would be for you, but for others. Now, one reason why many people don't write often is because we've been conditioned to write to achieve a certain grade. We've been conditioned to only hyper focus on grammar. Like school has did a huge number on how we operate now. So for me, I have to make writing fun because I don't always enjoy it, especially on the days when I feel like I don't have a lot to write about. I don't always enjoy those days. So I make it fun by writing stories. Actually, this is how I work on my story bank. I'll write a point and then I'll write a story that connects with that point so that I can then speak about it in a future video. And that's what makes it fun for me. So you have to find out what makes it fun for you in order for you to think more clearly so that you can speak clearly. Now, just to give you a summary cap, if you would like to level up and master your communication skills, tell more stories, not just facts. Speak with confidence. And if you think clearly, you'll be able to speak clearly. If you do all these things, you would drastically become a 1% communicator that people will want to buy what you want, that you have to offer. You'll begin to attract more clients, more money, more business, more relationships. You'll be able to impact others than ever before when you do these things to level up your communication skills. If you found value in this video, like I said, I'm hosting this masterclass next week, and I encourage you to join if you would like to be able to speak with confidence on camera. And also subscribe. I hope you have a great day. Peace.